This car has been called the worst nightmare for city driving. Today, I'm about to find out if the new Renault 5 can actually survive the beating our roads are about to give it. So here's the deal. The Renault 5 is back as an all-electric car, and everyone is raving about its cool looks and fun driving experience. And nobody's talking about the one thing that truly matters if you live in a city. Can it handle potholes? Let's be real, our streets look like they've been through a war zone. If you're spending your hard-earned money on a new car, you need to know if it's going to fall apart after just a few months of daily driving. I've got the keys to this brand new Renault 5 for a whole week, and I'm not taking it to some pristine test track. Oh no, I'm taking it through the absolute worst streets I can find. The kind of roads that make you double-check your car insurance policy. We're talking potholes deep enough to swallow a tire, cracks that feel like speed bumps, and uneven surfaces that will shake your fillings loose. This is the ultimate real-world test. Before we dive into the chaos, let's talk about the car itself. The original Renault 5 debuted in the 1970s and was a massive success. It was small, affordable, and practical, the perfect city car. After a long hiatus, Renault brought it back in 2024 as a fully electric vehicle. It's got that awesome retro styling that everyone loves, but it's packed with modern tech. Underneath the suspension is a pretty standard setup for a small car. McPherson struts in the front and a torsion beam in the rear. Nothing fancy, but the big question is, can a standard setup handle extreme conditions? Here's why this matters so much. When you hit a pothole, that brutal impact travels from your tire through the wheel and right into your suspension, which has to absorb all that energy. If the suspension is too soft, the car will feel like it's bouncing all over the place. If it's too stiff, every jolt goes straight into the car's frame, which can cause serious, expensive damage over time. But comfort means nothing if your car breaks down after navigating a few rough roads. So, here's my plan. I've mapped out a route that covers the most neglected, punishing roads in the city. I'm talking about streets that haven't seen fresh asphalt in years. Roads with potholes so infamous that people have literally planted flowers in them as a joke. I'm going to drive this route every single day for a week and document everything. I'll be listening for weird noises, feeling for any changes in the car's handling, and at the end of the week, I'm taking it to a professional mechanic for a full inspection to see if there is any hidden damage. Day 1 starts now. First stop, the industrial area. This is where the roads are at their absolute worst, thanks to decades of heavy trucks and zero maintenance. Right away, I can feel the suspension working overtime. The Renault 5 has a relatively soft setup, which is great for normal driving, but when you hit a big pothole, you really feel it. The good news is the car doesn't bounce around too much, which means the dampers are doing their job effectively. But there's this one legendary pothole on Maple Street that I've been actively avoiding for months. Today, I'm not avoiding it. I'm going straight for it. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, bang. Wow, that was loud. The whole car shook, and I felt it right through the steering wheel. But we're still moving. No warning lights on the dashboard. That's a very good sign. Let's keep going. One thing I'm noticing is that the suspension handles smaller bumps quite well. It soaks them up without much fuss. It's the big, sharp impacts that you really feel. That makes sense, though. This is a small, lightweight electric car. It doesn't have the sheer mass of a big SUV that can just steamroll over potholes. But on the flip side, being lighter means there's less weight crashing down on the suspension components, which could actually help with long-term durability. Day 2. I'm taking a different route today, this time through older residential neighborhoods. Here, the roads are arguably even worse because they're completely forgotten. The main arteries get patched up occasionally, but these side streets, forget it. There are potholes here that have probably been around since I was a kid. Today, I'm also focusing on the sounds the car's making. Any rattling, clunking, or creaking could be a red flag that something is coming loose. So far, everything sounds surprisingly solid. The cabin is quiet, with no strange noises from the suspension. But then, I hit a section of road that's completely torn up. It feels like I'm driving on the surface of the moon. The car is just bouncing everywhere. I have to slow down to a crawl just to get through it without losing control. And this is where I start to worry, because if you're hitting bumps this hard every single day, something is bound to give eventually. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but over time, that constant stress adds up. Day 3. Before heading out, I'm doing a thorough check of the tires. They're the first line of defense against bad roads, and usually the first to show damage. I'm looking for any bulges, cuts, or signs of uneven wear. So far, everything looks perfect. The tire pressure is holding steady. No visible damage at all. Honestly, that's impressive. I've destroyed tires on these very roads before. I once hit a pothole so hard it bent my rim and cost a fortune to replace. The Renault 5 seems to be holding up much better than I expected. Today's drive takes me through downtown, where the roads are a wild mix of smooth pavement and sudden disaster zones. You'll be cruising along, feeling fine, and then boom, a crater appears in the middle of the lane with no warning. You either hit it or swerve and risk hitting another car. I hit a few today and the car handled them without any major drama. Suspension is still doing its job. However, I'm starting to feel like the ride is a little bit rougher than it was on day 1. It could just be me getting used to the car, or it could be a subtle sign that the suspension is beginning to feel the strain. Day 4. Halfway through the week, and today I'm mixing things up by taking the car on some gravel roads. Gravel is incredibly tough on a car's suspension because it's so uneven and unpredictable. You're constantly being hit with small, sharp bumps and rocks. The Renault 5 actually handles it quite well. The suspension feels soft enough to prevent the ride from being punishing, but it's also firm enough to keep you feeling in control. I have to say, I'm impressed so far. This little car is proving to be much tougher than it looks. The real test, though, is still to come. We have 3 more days of abuse, and then the final verdict from the mechanic. Stick around to see if the Renault 5 survives. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the final results.